Hello and welcome to The Leak. My name is Jeremy Guzman and I'll be your host for tonight. We have a special red, white and blue edition of tonight's episode coming to you from the Four Seasons, Total Landscaping. On tonight's show, we'll be looking at the Trump administration, from his presidency to the 2020 election, and what the future looks like for soon-to-be former President Donald Trump and the United States of America. It's going to be a huge episode. The Trump administration has been responsible for the rise of white nationalism, COVID fatalities, and spray tanning, but it's also helped bring a new sport to the spotlight, mental gymnastics. With us today is two-time gold medalist and current world champion mental gymnast, Bubba. First of all, congratulations on your latest success, Bubba. Your Reddit comment arguing that President Donald Trump was a victim of voter fraud in the state of Toronto not only broke a record for most downvotes, but also garnered a new investigation from Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani.
Thank you. I'm just a simple man doing the Lord's work.
The Lord's work?
Well, yes, you see, Donald Trump...
I'm sorry, Bubba. I don't think I can compete against a professional gymnast like yourself, but I'll ask, how did you get into it?
To be honest, I didn't go looking for this sport. It found me. I went to a Trump rally in 2015 and discovered I had a lot of liberal snowflakes on my Facebook feed, so I decided to represent America and compete. And that's how I became a professional athlete at 43.
I think athlete's a bit of a stretch.
It's funny because I was awful at gym class in high school. I lost every race I competed in, and everyone always complained about my bad sportsmanship, but it turns out my bad sportsmanship is what makes me a great sportsman now. I mean, I'm not saying this, but a lot of people are saying I'm the best sportsman they've seen in their entire life. Even better than Usain Bolt and Michael Jordan. That's what they're saying.
You really are good at this, aren't you?
I am, and I'm still looking for sponsorship deals. I just finished reading The Art of the Deal, and I'm ready to negotiate the biggest sponsorship deal in recent history. I mean, maybe even all of history.
Your family must be proud of your achievements.
I don't know. I haven't spoken to them in years. They blocked me a while ago. Snowflakes.
Now, Bubba, you have a very particular routine you do before you compete, don't you?
I do.
And would you be willing to demonstrate that for us?
I sure can. Fake news. Mega. All lives matter. Confetti. And then I'm ready to go.
Interesting. And before we go, any advice for anyone at home wanting to follow in your footsteps?
Stick to a diet of McDonald's, Diet Coke, and liberal tears. Fly a Trump flag from your truck and watch at least 8 hours of Fox News a day.
Stand-up advice from a stand-up guy. Thank you for your time, Bubba. Throughout his presidency and, to be honest, most of his life, President Donald Trump has been referred to as a goldmine for comedians. But has he really? We've got this exclusive fly-on-the-wall look into the Leak's writer's room.
Great ideas so far, team. It's going to be a fantastic show this week. However, the boss has noticed that for a political satire show, we're not talking enough about Trump. I know. It's so hard to write something funny when the reality is so... Anyway, we really need to squeeze out some Trump content. So, any ideas?
All right, what if Trump tried to sell off Democratic states so that he could win the election?
Yep, great idea, except it might be a little too similar to when he tried to sell Puerto Rico in exchange for Greenland.
Trump can't read, so So he signs an agreement in the wrong place at a leadership summit.
No, because that actually happened.
He thinks America is doing well on COVID because it has less cases than the world combined.
That also...
He only knows how to fire people, so he fires everyone in the government, and then there's no more government?
That too.
No, I got it. He goes to book a big press conference at a big hotel chain. Only, instead, he ends up booking it at a seedy restaurant that has the same name as the hotel chain. Like, the numbers got all switched up. So he has to give his big press conference in front of a restaurant that has, I don't know, like a sex store next to it, or a crematorium, or both.
That's it. That's the sketch. Totally unbelievable, yet utterly Trump. Oh, wow. Good work, Jones. Like, finally, something Trump hasn't actually done.
Spend any length of time on Twitter or Facebook and you'll be immediately struck by how many Australians take an intense interest in the politics of the United States of America. I recently spent time with one such Australian. This is Cal Cooperman. When they're not working accounts receivable for a Melbourne artisanal cookie company, they live and breathe American politics. Why does American politics hold such a fascination for you as an Australian?
It's important to take an interest in world affairs. So much of what America does ultimately affects Australia.
Such as the Free Trade Agreement, Pine Gap, the ANZ-US Treaty?
I meant more how we call four-wheel drives SVUs, but sure.
Cal Cooperman's passion extends to every aspect of their life.
I've named my last 3 guinea pigs after Democratic speakers of the House of Representatives. I've also donated to the Democratic Party since I turned 18 for every election.
Isn't it illegal for American political parties to accept donations from foreign citizens?
Gosh, who did I authorise that transaction to?
You appear to be a big fan of recently deceased Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I shared every single tribute article on my Facebook about RBG the week she died. She changed the world.
You mean America?
That's what I said, yes.
What are your thoughts on the recent appointments of Jacqueline Gleeson and Simon Stewart to the High Court of Australia?
The who to the what now?
Surprised by this response, I spent the next hour asking Cal Cooperman their opinion on domestic issues, such as the reduction in the JobKeeper payment, the Aged Care Royal Commission, the destruction of Aboriginal heritage sites, and so on.
This isn't a fair line of questioning, you know. Of course I care about political issues at home as well as in America. People can walk and chew gum, you know, at the same time.
But you don't seem nearly as invested in our issues.
That's because they're so boring.
Boring?
Well, yeah, and more frustrating. I guess I suppose, influence issues at home if I really made an effort. Australia's problems seem to be so entrenched in our place in the world in comparison to America that we kind of just suck.
Are there any figures in Australian politics who inspire you?
Not really. I mean, I'll vote for Anthony Albanese in the next election, though.
We don't directly vote for the Prime Minister in the Australian system.
We don't? How does he win his electoral college, then?
We don't have that in Australia either.
Since when?
I spent the next 6 hours explaining the Westminster system of government, preferential voting, and the structure of Australia's legislature to Cal. This is Jeremy Guzman. So very tired. And speaking of tired, the one thing the president of the free world has not gotten rid of is tweeting. Any and every thought that comes into his head at any hour of the day. Tonight, we have a new set of mean tweets. But this time, we've gathered members of our audience to read out tweets that President Donald Trump has tweeted to his nation. Viewer discretion advised. Every single tweet you're about to hear is 100% real and in context.
At Fox News. Daytime ratings have completely collapsed. Weekend, daytime, even worse. Very sad to watch this happen, but they forgot what made them successful. What got them there? They forgot the golden goose. The biggest difference between the 2016 election and 2020 was Fox News. I don't get it. Is he the golden goose? The only thing golden about Donald Trump is his showers.
North Korea leader Kim Jong-un just stated that the nuclear button is on his desk at all times. Will someone from his depleted and food-starved regime please inform him that I too have a nuclear button, but it is a much bigger one and more powerful than his, and my button actually works. Well, I guess as long as this man who doesn't reach out from his pants and hit the button, we'll all be safe. Then again, if he does hit it, he'll probably just pay it off, and then we'll be none the wiser because we'll all be dead.
Big press conference today in Philadelphia at the Four Seasons Total Landscaping, 11:30.
I still don't get why he chose this venue. Like, he is so defensive about the size of his dick. Why would he choose a place that has a sex store next door where there are dildos for comparison?
Oh, I'm feeling a little bit of a cough come up. Just in case it's COVID, I'm going to follow the advice of President Trump and drink some bleach. In the meantime, here's a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Throughout the 2020 presidential election, there has been extensive focus on the ballot counting process. But what does it take to be a district ballot counter? Here is our electorate correspondent with a special report on the people behind this important position.
Every 4 years, the world comes together to celebrate athletic endurance. I'm not talking about the Olympics here. I'm talking about something far more grueling with far more pressure. Election ballot counting. With so much pressure on the home state of Pennsylvania, Terry Paperup has been training for the last 4 years since the last election.
We have to train hard because the competition is training harder. You know, you don't want to let the team down or the fans down or even the coach down.
You have a coach?
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, the best preparation needs the best support. You know, you can't just leave everything up to hopes and prayers.
What made you want to be a ballot counter?
Oh, well, my dad was actually a ballot counter himself.
Yeah, I had to follow in my father's footsteps. Actually, at the time, I told him I wanted a ballet tutu, but he misheard.
And the rest, they say, is history.
What does it take to be a ballot counter?
Well, you've got to be quick. You know, sometimes those ballots are on fire, literally. And sometimes, you know, they're on the back of a truck disappearing into the distance.
And to count.
What did you call me?
With a record number of voters expected, Terry is preparing their mind, body and spirit for the mammoth task in front of them.
The most memorable election for me was probably the 2016 election. Because, and you won't believe this, because people were actually trying to vote with accents. You know, I mean, you wouldn't read about it, you know, trying to vote in the American election with accents. Come off it.
They could still be citizens with different accents, just where were they from?
I think they were Russian, actually, yeah. Boris and Natasha Robotkiov, yeah.
Thanks to people like Terry, democracy is in safe, if not sweaty hands.
One of the most surprising results of the election was, despite losing, Trump increased his popular vote by 10 million votes. Tonight, we talked to one of these voters who looked at the past 4 years and thought, time to jump on the Trump train. Joining us from DC is Lou Grogan.
Howdy.
Now, Lou, you didn't vote in 2016, is that correct?
No, sir, I tend to think of voting as being for them homosexual types.
So what is it about Trump in 2020 that spoke to you?
Well, in 16, I couldn't really relate to Trump's message. Make America great again. America's already the greatest country in the world. I owned and rented out my own series of porta potties and had just purchased a 2006 Chrysler Ram in porcelain bowl white.
Sounds like the dream.
It really was. But now 2020, there's violence in the streets and COVID in the sheets. The U.S. is in recession, unemployment is even worse than during the global financial crisis, and it's time to make America great again, bring it back to its 16 level.
But those things were caused by Trump.
And who better to clean up the mess than the person who caused it? If you spill a Bud Light all over your half-carpeted floor, do you vote for some new guy to come in and clean it all up, or do you take an old shirt from the shirt pile and wipe it up yourself?
Did you say half-carpeted floor?
Yeah, times are sure tough down at the Grogan Latrine Palace. Nobody's shitting outside anymore, are they? Everybody's inside using their own damn toilets. I need to sell half my carpet to afford that Bud Light.
That's horrible, Lou. It sounds like, if anything, you should have more reason to vote Trump out.
Look, I'm just a humble porta potty renter. I don't know much, but I know that when Trump held that big banquet filled with McDonald's and KFC, people couldn't stop shitting. They rented out my whole fleet, even the Hyper Deluxe executive model for the man himself. It was brown gold, baby. Woo!
That's grotesque.
It's good business, and that's why I like Trump. He's a businessman with highly active IBS.
That's not all we have time for tonight, but I'm just going to end it there. Is there anything else you'd like to say before you go, Lou?
Why, yes, I do. If anyone out there is in the market for an executive porta potty, I'm selling. Only one previous user called me on 555 shit myself.
Somebody please just cut the feed.
Now that the reign of the orange one is over, sort of maybe, you're at a loss. The dopamine isn't chugging around like it used to. The cortisol isn't surging through your body for the first time since November 2016. How do you replace that Trump-fueled adrenaline? Here are some helpful ways to keep that dopamine flowing in a post-Trump age. Political punditry is a great way to angry up the blood. So chase that righteous anger dragon by reading columnists you can't stand. Burst a blood vessel with Andrew Bolt. Rage tweet after reading Rita Panahi. Groan indignantly at Greg Sheridan. The options are limitless. Nothing makes me feel smarter than reading an obnoxious comment on the social media of an obnoxious politician. Craig Kelly's Facebook is a favourite of mine. I always fire a zinger or two under his posts, and it really puts a jump in my step. This is for anyone who likes to connect with their neighbourhood. Seek out your local anti-development collective. Get involved in their efforts to stop new buildings being replaced by slightly older buildings. Choose your allies carefully though. Protecting heritage architecture is one thing. Keeping certain types of people out of your suburb is not so good. You know how often people say never read the comments under the news headlines? Set up accounts on The Guardian, The Age, news.com.au, and before you know it, you'll be frothing at righteous anger at the stupid people on the internet. Stupid people like @ChickenFingers29. What a moron. Moron. Even better than all these tips, why not sign up with a psychologist who specialises in anger management and trauma recovery? That for a joke. No, you're the dum-dum at ChickenFingers29.
Thank you for that. Oh crap. Is that the owner of Four Seasons Total Landscaping? We never got permission to film here, did we? That's all right. We'll just play it cool and pretend we're going in to look at some pot plants. In the meantime, here's a word from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hopefully. Welcome back. We're still coming to you from Four Seasons Total Landscaping, but before we go on, we have a strategically placed paid advertisement.
Extra, extra! Read all about it! All our best non-extradition holidays on sale now! Got some vacation time coming up? Here at Extra Travel, we've got you covered. We're not trumpeting our own horn or anything. But if your idea of a holiday is going into hiding, then we have everything you need to keep you out of the States and living large. Need sunshine? We've got villa packages in Cape Verde, the Maldives, Cuba, Vanuatu. Finally achieved that full-body tan you've always needed. Take a cultural tour of Iran, Morocco, Somalia, or North Korea. And there's always our absolute top-of-the-line bestseller, Taiwan, just one of many places the USA doesn't officially recognise as a real country. Hang out on the beaches in complete non-existence. Thank God for the all-American dream of a death penalty. It keeps the list of countries who won't extradite you home long and our baseline humanity low. Talking of low, our budget special for this week only, all Russian holiday packages free of charge. Safety not guaranteed.
As expected, following the 2020 election, President Donald Trump has alleged voter fraud. Enraged by these baseless claims, citizens are leading private investigations into the alleged voter fraud. We go live to Brandon Ellis, founder of pro-Trump organisation Patriot Watch.
Thank you, Jeremy. Although I do object to your claim that we are a pro-Trump organisation, it just so happens that voter fraud tends toward a left-wing ideology, so we do happen to accommodate more right-wing victims of voter fraud. But we here at Patriot Watch are against all forms of disenfranchisement. There we are now. Patriot Watch, representation for all.
Is this the voter fraud hotline?
Yes, it is.
Hell yeah. Tell you what, this has been a long time coming.
Thank you, caller, yes. Patriot Watch is only ever concerned with a fair and balanced election.
I agree. This has not been a fair election for real Americans.
See, this is why we set up Patriot Watch. How has your vote been affected, caller?
Well, I live in Pennsylvania and my vote wasn't counted.
Terrible news, terrible news.
Exactly. I voted in 2016 twice when Trump won, and now the fake news media is telling me we lost? Where did those votes go then? We're all still here.
Hang on. You voted twice in 2016.
Yes, I did. It was my patriotic duty.
Well, caller, as sympathetic as I am, it is illegal to vote twice.
Well, I figure if they get to vote twice, I gotta vote twice so it's fair.
I understand, caller, but you've actually committed a crime. If we were to report voter fraud, we'd have to report you too.
Don't bother, I'm already on probation, but I still voted.
Well, as long as you've registered to vote.
I registered on 8th of June 1966 when I was born in this country.
I think he's committed voter fraud.
No, I'm sure he's just confused. Caller, do you have any other information, like, I don't know, a mailbox painted orange, or perhaps the post service shredding votes? You know, something real.
I'm here to report the voter fraud that is rampant. The fake news media have falsely reported the election results.
So you've got no actual evidence for voter fraud?
The proof is that Trump lost when he won last time. The amount of voters shouldn't have changed so much. Where are these?
Are you in your car?
I'm sure they're just pulling me over because I'm on my phone. No, I don't know why you pulled me over. Well, I mean, I voted twice, once, 4 years ago, but that isn't a crime now, is it? No, I will not step out.
Is that a normal call?
No, I usually get prank calls.
Are you going to call the police?
No, I don't think I have to anymore.
Thank you, Brandon, for your work in uncovering voter fraud. When a US president leaves office, the documentation and mementos of their time in office are collected and placed in a library for public access. It's a tradition that dates back to 31st President Herbert Hoover, though Donald Trump and library aren't words you may expect to be in the same sentence. We now cross live to our correspondent at the opening of the Donald J. Trump Presidential Library.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'm in what could be described as the bowels of the Trump Presidential Library.
Oh, do you have to wear the gloves to protect the fragile documents?
Yeah, let's go with that.
And what kind of items are on display in the library?
This is the official document between President Trump and North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un.
Can you show us an example?
Hey Jong-un, it's Donnie. How are you? I'm fine. I had snickerdoodles for dessert tonight. Do you have hot daughters? I have hot daughters. Your gulags sound great. We have them here, but we call them ICE detention centers. Say hi to your dad for me. Love heart, Donnie.
Quite a glimpse inside the intricacies of geopolitics. And what else have you found?
Yeah, well, all of President Trump's executive orders were actually on top of a pile of books of Obama's executive orders. On top of this, I found this sticky note. The sticky note says, haha, Obama. Mine's bigger than yours.
You seem truly overwhelmed by all the history on display.
Yeah, all the history that's on display. That's it.
That was our correspondent, truly moved to be in the presence of living history. Finally tonight, we've used the Leaks time machine to bring you this glimpse into where the Trump administration's key figures end up 15 years from now. See you next week.